watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.
And welcome to Ghostfire Media's coverage of the AOLL TNT Season 1 Series finale. Yeah, kind of screwed that one up there. I'm Josh Laston, and we have ourselves a lot of fun to look forward to tonight here at Martinsville. These guys are running the super late models, a car that is perfectly suited for this track. And you know what? It's going to be absolutely just great racing out there tonight, because honestly, the reason why we're getting around to just broadcasting now is because it's such an absolute blast to drive these cars in this series that, well, honestly, no one wanted to broadcast. But since we are closing out the season, and starting in 2 weeks, we are going to have Carl Henderson broadcasting the next season, which is going to be the Classic 87 Cup cars on a selection of tracks from the 87 Cup season. We figured, you know what? Why not show off everybody how well they've grown and how great the season has been? There's no better time to do it than at the finale. And we have a relatively large pack today, to where we've had 18 people turn laps. And I don't know if it's just because everybody gets to hear my beautiful voice when they watch this again next week or tomorrow. But anyway you slice it, we've had a great group of racers come out through the past 10 weeks. And unlike last year with the TNT series, it's open to the entire league. So we've had everyone from last year's Cup champion Blake Gordon running to the TNT regulars of Dave Wright, Carl Henderson, and tonight we actually get a return of a previous TNT champion, Johnny Edward, who is who we're watching right now, and then my camera decides to jump to Dave Wright. But opening it up to the entire group has created a lot of fun nights. We're running heats tonight, so the group will be split up into 3 15-lap races to decide the final order for the feature that they decided to make longer to make me suffer at 75 laps. But as we see, the top time on the table right now is 18.89 seconds. Those 75 laps are going to fly by. And if any previous race is to go by, it's going to be a clean one. And these guys are just going to have an absolute blast out there on track. But the one thing we do need to make note of is, and it's what's made it fun for me to run this series, is with the heat races, you get a time to just sit back and relax, hang out with your friends, and just enjoy watching everyone race while waiting for yours. And that's what's made this season actually quite a bit special for these guys. And unfortunately, I'm not sure if we're going to be doing any heat races the next season. I'll be sad to see it go, because anytime we've run heats, everybody's on their teams, and it's always just fun, because you only run with these guys. You're always in chats, so you build friendships, and it's always just a good time to go ahead and sit there and chat with people. And of course, we cut right to Blake Gordon right as he's killing a cone, which is his MO, to where there will not be many cones surviving the evening on outlaps, pit laps, or anything of that nature. But we've only got 30 seconds before we kick into qualifying, and it's very tight up at the top of the charts right now, to where the top 6 are only separated by all of 0.04 of a second. So that means a lot of good things for the racing tonight. And right now, Justin Anderson is coming into this race 7 points clear in first, with Joe Dinsmore behind him, and Shawn Carmody, who is actually a scratch from the race tonight, apparently. Oh no, he's in here. I just missed him. I think he just got his last second join like he tends to do. But that's good to see, because he's 19 points back, so he's got a chance. And we'll sit here, we'll watch Blake Gordon on his outlap and see what kind of time he can set. And will he be able to get himself to the top of the tables and be able to wait around the longest by being first in that first heat? And he's starting his first lap, and he's getting a good entry. He's down to that low line quickly, and the power's down nearly immediately, and he sets his first lap. And we switch to the pole sitter right now, Justin Anderson, who is in the barrels. Good times. Justin does love those barrels. But we'll jump back here to Blake Gordon and see if he's able to improve on his time. He is barely able to where he's still in second place by 0.05 of a second. Stephen Dominy is behind him, and he's pulling off at this point, so we'll just roll through the list and see who we can find that's actually out there turning laps. There's Joshua Mays, who is looking to get things moving. And we also have Adam Wood, Johnny Edward, the 2020 TNT season champion and year-long, or no, he was not the year-long, he just had a season. The year-long championship was actually Dan Witt. But right now I just want to jump here to Shawn Carmody, who's starting his outlap, and let's see if he's able to get himself a good starting position to be able to start this race and try to get himself up into first. And he's down to the line quickly, gets himself the power on the throttle. These cars can handle a lot of power on exit, and that's going to be enough to put him in 16th. Didn't get the practice, but I've seen him out here. Sometimes he doesn't get the practice, but with how the heat races work, he gets in the rhythm during his heat race, and then he is a threat once we hit actual race time. So we'll jump to his teammate, Blake Ziti, another threat from last year's TNT season. Getting his second lap done. He's a little bit wide on entry, and he's going to floor it out of the turn, and we'll see if he's able to increase his position, and it doesn't look like it. Actually, he's probably just running practice laps. It's probably the same thing with Shawn right now. These are the only two that are currently out there on track. It looks like Justin Anderson, he reset. so he's just sitting there. But these guys are looking to get as much practice time as they possibly can in. And so we will go ahead and run through the list right now, because it looks like it's pretty much set at this point to where Joshua Mays has set his time. The only person who has not set a time at this point is Dave Wright in the 43. He's just sitting in the pits as we see Blake Ziti make his way in. Just while I ramble, we'll sit here and watch Shawn Carmody practice, to where right now our pole sitter is Justin Anderson, currently in the lead in the points, followed by Blake Gordon, Joe Dinsmore, Adam Wood, Dan Shirley, Stephen Dominy, Carl Henderson, Blake Ziti, Johnny Edward, and Timothy St. Jean rounding out the top 10. Then we have Ed Springer in 11th, Kevin Schmidt in 12th, Mike Burgess in 13th, John Gordon 14th, 15th is Dan Witt, the 2020 season champion. Well, year champion. Then 17th is Rob Muniz, 18th is Joshua Mays, and starting in the back right now is Dave Wright. So the one thing about these heat races that we will have to keep in mind is these guys, if you can come from the back of your heat race and get yourself up to the front, you will be starting at the front later in the feature. So it's going to divide it to where every third is going to go ahead and be split up into their heats right now. So we will be starting. The first heat is Justin Anderson, Dan Shirley, Johnny Edward, and Mike Burgess and Rob Muniz. So these guys will be the first ones out there, the first to get the taste of Martinsville in an actual race situation. And we are ready to go. Maybe. All right, it looks like they should be rolling. Everyone is out there on track for this group, so the pace car is rolling. And we're going to jump in on the Brandon Bernhardt roll bar camera. Love having that back and being able to say it with our pole sitter, Mr. Justin Anderson. And the lights on the pace car are off, so they are going to be going green this time by. So we'll go ahead. We'll jump to the camera 3, get that nice wide angle of these guys. No. Lights on the pace car being off normally means that we are going racing, but apparently iRacing doesn't like me. So one more to green as we see Rob in the 47 getting the tires as warm as he possibly can. I would worry a little bit less about the tires and more about the brakes here at Martinsville, as we see Dan Shirley doing exactly that, gunning it. That's going to get the rear tires warm and the brakes. And that's exactly what you're going to need to make sure you're good and controlled coming in. So the pace car is off, and we'll be going green on the flag tonight. So they're approaching. The flag is waving and they're off, and Justin Anderson gets a little bit of a spin coming off the line, but he's still got the low line. Luckily, a teammate on the outside, so he's going to be able to get himself up into first. And it only takes 2 corners before we are single file for this heat. And we've got 15 laps for anyone to try to make a move. And Dan Shirley just seems like he may be able or comfortable in that Pontiac-looking SLM to just sit there, run around, knowing that finishing there is going to get him starting in 4th tonight on the feature. and then take his chances from there. So we'll go ahead, roll back a little bit through the pack. We're starting to get a little bit spread out. But with 13 to go, I think everybody's going to be saving the good moves for our feature for tonight. And Justin Anderson has managed to get himself about a half a second lead as we're crossing the line at 11 to go. But Dan Shirley just comfortably sitting there waiting. But the one thing we actually have to sit and think about is, right now, Johnny Edward, he is not going away. He is keeping himself in a generally nice position. He's going a little bit deeper into the corners, and then Daniel pulls away from him as he goes into corner exit and gets on the throttle. But he is keeping a relatively consistent gap both to his front and rear, keeping about a half a second there, even though, as I say that, it's jumping up to closer to 2/3 of a second because he has to prove me wrong. But none of these guys are really going to worry too much about racing hard because, Adam, I don't know what that means. But I've got Adam Wood, my cohort on a Monday night for the North-South Racing League, is putting mysterious things because he's got a 10-second delay, and I don't remember what I said 5 seconds ago, let alone that far back. But Johnny Edward is closing down the gap as we're going to cross the line with 5 to go. He gets a little squirrely coming out of the corner. Looks like Johnny Edward's going to try to take that opening. They get a little bit of contact, but that was a fantastic move on Johnny Edwards' part to be able to get himself into the right position, just slid up ever so slightly into Daniel Shirley, and that contact's going to create a lot of separation. So Justin Anderson has a 1.8 seconds clear to his front right now, and that's pretty much going to be all she wrote unless he decides to loop it coming out of a corner, which I wouldn't put past him. He does like his barrels on pit entry. But we've got 3 to go, and it looks like we may have been close to being set on the order, but Johnny Edward really doing everything he can to close down that gap on Daniel Shirley. And right now, he's close enough to be able to make a move with 2 to go. But I think he may be a little bit gun shy after that last one. Almost ended in disaster for both of them, but we are reaching 1 to go, and right now Justin Anderson is taking that white flag for the heat, and it's time to just go ahead comfortably, make your way around the track, no errors, and get yourself across the line so you get to start on that inside of the front row during the feature. So as we close out, Johnny Edward had another, he closed down the gap to 1.2 seconds, but couldn't quite get it done. And now it's time to move ourselves along to the second heat. Our second place qualifier, Blake Gordon, is going to be starting in the pole position for this race, with Stephen Dominy on his outside, who came in, just left. And then Tim St. Jean is there, and we're moving. It looks like maybe Steve Dominy is gonna be starting from either the pit lane or had some connection issues that dropped him, as we see John Gordon, who's gonna inherit that second place start. So it looks like we may only have 4 people in this heat, with Blake Gordon starting on the inside, his father on the outside, Tim St. Jean behind him, and Joshua Mays, another Endeavor car, out there in the 3rd row, but only temporarily. So they are getting themselves tires warmed and ready to go once we get ourselves to the stripe once again. And then it is time to go racing. So we get to see the pace car go ahead, peel off, and wait for Blake to go ahead and get himself up to the flag stand and get that green flag waved, and away we go. He gets a great jump on the inside, getting around the number 19, who has a little bit of trouble there, and manages to collect it. And we see Steve Dominy rejoining the track. He just had some connection issues, and unfortunately that's just going to drop him to the back of the pack. But as we see Blake Gordon just sailing away at this point, so we'll jump back here because he's opened up a 1-second gap in just the first lap. We'll watch as 2 of the veterans of the AOLL, Tim St. Jean and John Gordon, probably going to be sitting and trying to get themselves into the best position possible, as we see John Gordon's having a little connection issue, but Tim St. Jean is right there waiting for any opportunity he can get on John Gordon to get around him. And in Tim's shoes, if John's being a little bit of a Houdini there, it's a little nerve-wracking, but you go out there, you run your line. That's all you need to do. Because if he disappears and then reappears in front in your car, iRacing doesn't really do anything to where you can run with 2 cars locked step in step. And as long as no one decides to go ahead and make it to where the bounding boxes of those cars are separated, you can just keep doing it. I've tried to run a full lap inside of someone else's car before. Doesn't really work because I tend to run different lines than everyone else. But it was a fun try, because right now our leader has stepped out, checked out to a 2.5 second lead, and did we just had a crash. Let's go ahead and take a quick look and see what happens here, as Tim St. Jean on corner entry, catches curb and gets a little tap from John Gordon. John, being the gentleman, sets him straight, and we get moving again. So Blake Gordon, after that little bit of an incident, now is 7 seconds clear. So we're going to go ahead and jump here, as it looks like Steve Dominy, despite the fact that he started from the pits, is trying to get a move on Joshua Mays, and he has the nose down below. Not quite, but he is right there on the rear bumper and looking to see if he can get any kind of an error out of that 56 and take advantage and get himself up into 4th of this heat. As that's exactly what we have right there, and he has moved into 4th and now is going to set his sights on John Gordon, and the front end of that SLM is looking all right, actually. I would expect a little bit more damage, but these cars are absolute tanks. They are made for the lower levels of short track racing, to where someone like myself would be able to buy one. As John Gordon gives Tim St. Jean another nudge right there, Tim collects it. But again, these things are tanks. They are built to beat and bang and make it to where someone at the lower levels doesn't necessarily need to rebuild the chassis after every race if you give someone the tip like we're seeing John Gordon do. But we're keeping ourselves green. We've got 2 to go, and Blake Gordon just runs away with a race as he takes the white flag to start the last lap. He's just in cruise control right now to go ahead and take the checkered flag, punch his ticket to the first row of the feature, where he's going to be battling against his nemesis, Justin Anderson. Not really nemesis, frenemies is the best way to put it. As he's going to go ahead and burn these tires down. I'm surprised he's not taking out every cone in the path, because that is traditional Blake. But it is time to get our third heat started. Starting at the front is Joe Dinsmore. And why are my cameras not resetting? Don't know why. Joe hasn't joined yet. So Joe will be starting on the inside of the front line. Carl Henderson to his outside. Ed Springer behind him in third. Dan Witt in fourth. And Dave Wright, it will be in fifth tonight. And it actually looks like Shawn Carmody may not have qualified, or we may have smaller heats tonight to where I may have been wrong and we're getting to get 4 heats. And that's brilliant. So we are going to go ahead and get this one started. I'm going to take a drink of my Dr. Pepper so I can actually breathe once we get ourselves moving for this race. Alright, we're 1 lap away from getting this third heat race started. And Joe Dinsmore was actually at the top of the practice charts, so he's definitely no slouch. Carl Henderson was actually the man behind him. So we should see some fantastic racing as we make our way to green and get things going. And the power is down and these guys are off. Carl Henderson looks like he may try to do something on the outside, but he smartly gets himself down into that low line. He and Joe are clear. And we're going to go ahead and jump back right now as the back 3 in this race. Dan Witt's looking a little racy, goes down on that low line. Looks like he may try to do something there. But Ed Springer goes deep into the corner, runs wide, and that's going to open up the opportunity again for Dan Witt possibly. But Big Red doesn't quite have it ready to go there. But these guys at the front, Carl Henderson is nearly a second in front of third place and trying to track down Joe Dinsmore, who's opening up about a half a second lead right now. But Carl is taking every inch out of that lap, rubbing up against those curbs. And we have Dave Wright. It looks like he may have had a little bit of an issue. Let's take a quick look and see what we've got here. just looks like he probably got a little, yeah, just got himself a little happy on the throttle. Spin out of 4 to where I feel for you. I've done it far too many times. But Dan Witt and Ed Springer, these two are close right now. And getting himself, trying to set up that pass. Because these guys are separated by about 0.2 of a second. And right now, he's just waiting for any kind of an error from Ed Springer, as Dan Witt is hard on that low line, getting himself as quickly and taking the shortest path around this track, and hoping that Ed Springer goes a little deep into the corner again. And that'll open up the opportunity for these two teammates to go side by side here on a track that doesn't really support it. But let's go ahead and check ourselves back in at the front. These guys are holding about the same pace, still about 0.5 seconds separated. Doesn't look like either one's really wanting to do anything that could jeopardize them starting towards the front of the pack tonight. And it's just looking like just calm heads are prevailing. But definitely not back here. These two are still going at it as Dan Witt's trying to do anything he possibly can to get himself around Ed Springer to take third in this heat. And Dan is trying any line he possibly can. And with 5 to go, time's running out on making a move. Oh, as Dan clips a little bit of the curb and we see him falling back. And that is most likely all she wrote for Dan Witt's hopes of taking third, as Ed Springer, not one to normally make mistakes. He should be clean, and Dan Witt, who seemed to be on par with him, is about 0.9 of a second back at this point. And Carl Henderson, again, just running a nice quiet race, trying to get himself cleanly through, not put any marks on that brilliant white CCR car tonight. And with 2 to go, just comfortably realize that you're 3.5 seconds forward and just bring it home to survive to the feature, where we put all 19 cars out there on track, and Martinsville is gonna be some chaos. We have seen some serious incidents that have taken out the entire field, but right now Joe Dinsmore is making his way across the stripe to take the win, to start third in the feature tonight. So this is gonna be absolutely fantastic, as Carl crashed according to my information here, and I would have hoped it would have been more spectacular than that. But we have our 4th and final heat that is gonna be opening up with Adam Wood on the inside line. At the front, Blake Ziti on his outside, Kevin Schmidt in third, and Shawn Carmody is gonna be in 4th tonight. And if experience says anything, he will not be finishing in that position. He's probably gonna be putting the fight to Adam or his real-life friend. And watching these two race is always hilarious, with Shawn Carmody and Blake Ziti. I don't think I have ever been that competitive with any of my friends. Actually, that's a complete lie. But these two, this is a very, very strong heat. Adam has been absolutely fantastic anytime we've run the SLMs. He just has terrible luck. Blake Ziti, Shawn Carmody, those two are going to be a threat no matter what we run. I don't have as much experience with Kevin Schmidt because he's only really, I've seen him over the course of this past year, but definitely someone that has raced me hard, cleanly, but hard, and in my experience, a fantastic driver. So Adam Wood is going to go ahead and lead us to the green. The pedal's on the floor, and he is off. Gets a fantastic jump. He's going to get himself clear of the 50. The 50 runs deep, as does the 40, and that's going to cause them to fan out a little bit, give Adam Wood a little bit of a cushion to run away with this. But I don't think he is, as Blake Ziti is going to go ahead and try to close him in. Shawn Carmody looks like he may try to take a move down into turn one, and he is right there on the bumper of the 20 and looking to get himself just enough space to get the nose down below and start battling with his teammate, and then try to set his sights on Adam Wood in front of him. But any kind of battling that these guys do, that is going to give Adam Wood just a little bit more of an opportunity to get himself farther in front of this pack, as Shawn Carmody looks like he's going to make a move. He does. Kevin Schmidt recognizes it, decides to be safe, but he's going to be able to get fantastic runs coming out of the corners as, ooh, we got a little bit of contact. Shawn hits the curb after getting squeezed down just a little bit, and he is taking all of that curb, and there is not much that these cars are really going to be able to do with pliance, not having very pliant of suspension. But Shawn Carmody is clear of Kevin Schmidt, and Adam Wood sets the fastest lap right there of a 19.1 flat, with Blake Ziti setting his personal best of a 19.2. But right now we've got Shawn Carmody. Oh, he is flying up to Blake right now, and he is going to try to get himself around his teammate. He's going to try to do it cleanly, and he's showing signs that he is going to try to make that move. He is not trying to hide it, that he really wants to get himself up into second. And he has done this time and time again during this season of TNT. He has ended up joining at the very last minute, can't qualify well, but takes all of those qualifying laps to get himself settled in. He's a fantastic driver. And then once he hits the heats, he just turns on the jets, gets himself moved up through the heat to get himself farther forward for the feature. And then ultimately, there's a reason why he's in third in the points right now. He's just put on a fantastic show, but right now Adam Wood is 2.5 seconds clear in first. So we're going to focus on this battle right now between the 50 and the 40. And it looks like Shawn is a little more aggressive on entry, whereas Blake is rolling it a little bit more, but has the advantage on exit. As we see the 40 just get a little bit squirrely there on exit, meaning he's putting all the power he possibly can into those tires to try to get himself up into second, which would ultimately have him starting 8th on the grid for the feature. So every little bit counts, because each one will essentially move you up 4 positions on the feature start. So it's what you need to do, and it's always fun when you end up in these heat races with your teammates, as we see the 40 slam the wall, and that's going to give that breathing room to Blake Ziti. And he should be able to hold on to it at this point, because chances are there's a little bit of damage on the outside of that 40. Probably just body work as we roll by, and it doesn't look like it did anything. So it could have been netcode, who knows? iRacing is a fickle beast sometimes. But we've got one lap to go as Adam Wood, given all of the fighting going on behind him, just gets to sail off to the victory and 4th place in the feature. Coming home for another heat win throughout the course of this series. And Blake Ziti's going to take 2nd. Shawn's right there on him and gives him a little friendly love tap there. So right now, we are gonna go ahead and take a quick moment, because what we do is there's a 5-minute warm-up for everybody that has been sitting around waiting during the rest of the heats to make sure you can get yourself back in rhythm. And it's everybody out there on track. We're gonna hear from the traditional TNT sponsor, Mr. Randy Pepper.
Hi, I'm Randy from the Guitar Attic. Can we be serious for a second? Are you tired of being a loser? Can't do anything right? Feel like everyone's coming down on you all the time? Well, there's a way out, and I'm going to show you. Hey Mom, look what I learned. That's right, pick up a guitar, learn how to play guitar. Automatically you're going to become a chick magnet. The ladies are gonna love you. Your kids are gonna think you're cool. So what you need to do is come down here to the Guitar Attic, 1672.5 Ridgewood Avenue in Daytona Beach, Florida, or go to guitarattic.com and buy yourself a guitar and automatically be the star of your neighborhood. That's guitarattic.com.
All right, and we are back. And right now, Justin Anderson is currently leading this session. Not exactly surprising, given that he was our pole sitter and ultimately won his heat, followed by Adam Wood, Johnny Edward, Dan Shirley, and Carl Henderson. So the one thing that I will say is it's great to be back broadcasting for these guys, even if it's only for a single race. The TNT holds a soft spot in my heart because I got to sit and run it for far too long last year and a season before that. But it brought me in to run with this great group of guys that, you know what, I look forward to running with them twice a week at this point, sometimes 3. So it's always fun to go ahead and come back to where you essentially started in the league and have some fun. But while we wait for the actual feature to start, I'm actually going to shamelessly plug an event that we have coming up in June on Ghostfire Media, partnering with the league we broadcast on Monday nights. We're going to be putting on a full-length Talladega race. So let's go ahead and hear a little bit more about it. Us for the Alabama 500, June 10th through June 12th, presented by RC2 Race Promotions on Ghostfire Media. Visit RC2 Race Promotions on Facebook for more information on how to register. So anyone out there who is running iRacing, make sure and visit the RC2 Race Promotions Facebook page to get all of the details. It should be an absolute blast out there on track. You're going to have the Ghostfire Media team bring you all the coverage from all of the Saturday and Sunday events that are tied to it, to where it is going to be a qualifying on Friday night, duels on Saturday, and then a last chance qualifying if we get enough people out there to justify it, and then the full length race comes Sunday. It's going to be a blast. I would prefer to broadcast it just because I enjoy this, but I also would love to race it because I do love me some Dega, even though it does not love me. But the warm-up is over, and it is time to go ahead and start these 75 laps here at Martinsville, and apparently that didn't actually get changed. So we're running 50 apparently. And all right, we'll go ahead and get ourselves moving with Justin Anderson leading us to the green today, starting in the pole. Blake Gordon on his outside, Joe Dinsmore in third, Adam Wood fourth, Dan Shirley fifth, Tim St. Jean in sixth, Carl Henderson seventh, Blake Zedian eighth, Johnny Edward in ninth, John Gordon in 10th, 11th is Ed Springer, 12th Shawn Carmody, 13th Rob Muniz, 14th is Stephen Dominy, 15th Dan Witt, 16th is Kevin Schmidt, 17th Mike Burgess, 18th is Joshua Mays, and 19th is Dave Wright. And the pace car is pulling off. We've got the full field out on the track all at once, and it's going to be 50 laps of fantastic racing. We keep it clean, and it's going to tick by. I'll admit, with this many people, I'm looking forward to maybe a little bit of chaos. I'm going to go ahead and knock on some wood for people there just to make sure that no one blames me for any kind of commentator's curse or anything like that. But with the TNT, they get 2 fast repairs. They have enough fuel to where they shouldn't have to pit at all over the course of this race. They don't have any extra set of tires, so pitting isn't going to help you at all anyway. So the only reason we should see anybody make their way in is to get that fast repair, and there's plenty of them to make sure that we can all survive to the end of this race tonight. So as the pace car goes ahead, peels off, we're going to bunch the pack up, and we're going to watch here from down over turns 1 and 2 as Justin Anderson leads us to the green flag. And the power is down and he's off. He gets a good jump, but Blake Gordon is going to fight around on the outside. He may be able to make something of that, but not quite. Justin Anderson is going to go side by side into turns 3 and 4. Blake is sailing it into those turns, and he seems to have that second line figured out. This is one of his tracks that he considers to be his best and one of the home tracks. He's from Virginia, it's close enough. But these two are going side by side for the lead, and the only people that is going to drive insane are everyone behind them, because neither of these guys are going to be able to go full speed, and they're giving each other a little bit of room, but not quite as much as you would think. But that's a lot of trust from these guys spending a lot of time running side by side, as Blake Gordon is into the wall and he's going to make his way out, and that's going to bring out the caution. And it looks like that may have been farther back in the field. So let's see what we got here. Johnny Edwards seems to be the first one that's coming up for me. And oh, gets a little bit of curb and then a nudge from his teammate, and chaos ensues. I'm sorry, everybody. That one's my bad. But let's see that from another angle. Let's see that from Joshua Mays, and let's go to the Brandon Bernhardt roll bar camera as he is watching this from in front of him. And as we can see, there's not really much you can do. These walls are narrow, and when there's a whole lot of bumpers in front of you, there's not much that you can do. And so we are going to go ahead and rack him up once again. And again, unless you got some serious damage, it's not really worth going in there. So John Gordon, who was involved in all of that, is going to go ahead and make his way into the pits. This will put him at the back of the field, but as he's making his way out, that number 19 Guitar Addict car looks perfectly clean. And I'm going to apologize for anyone that can hear my hungry cat who is deciding to make his case for feeding him 15 minutes early. But we're going to go ahead and get everybody racked up. And side by side, the lights on the pace car are off. So it is time for us to get back racing with Justin Anderson selecting that low line once again. And with the speed that Blake Gordon had on that outside, he does get to dictate when we go now that the pace car is off, so he can go whenever he wants, and he is just taking some time, letting the field all get into the corner. He's just got to get himself a jump over Blake Gordon, who is gonna end up under pressure from Joe Dinsmore, not necessarily even worrying about Justin Anderson. Justin gets himself up there. He's gonna try the switch back on Justin Anderson, who sails it a little bit to make sure he carries as much speed as he can, with Blake Gordon making the run in there, and he covers it, and Blake holds on to second. With Joe Dinsmore right there behind him, it looks like Justin Anderson may have gotten a little bit of a scrape on the wall there, but he's still going to hold on to that first place. I'm going to jump back here as we have Shawn Carmody down below Tim St. Jean, and the second caution is out of the night. Let's go ahead and take a quick look and see what we have here. That looks like that was, oh, that's the 16 of Ed Springer getting himself into the corner. Oh, it looks like he had to do a little bit of checking up for the 47, and that makes it to where the 20, who probably couldn't even see the car in front of him, giving him a little bit of the tip. And we are back under yellow, and Ed just has some issues getting himself moving once again. So the yellow flag is out. And again, time to rack him up. We are a quarter of the way through this 50-lap race tonight. And it is time to see if anybody's really going to be able to supplant Justin Anderson for this lead. Blake Gordon is making a case for him to take over, but Justin Anderson is positioning that 73 Bud Light car in exactly the right places to keep him from getting it. So we've got ourselves, well, one more lap. So it's time to drink a little bit more of my Dr. Pepper before we go back green flag racing, and these guys won't make it to where I can get a moment to breathe. Alright. We're getting ourselves ready to go. This should be the last lap to where the lights on the pace car should be turning off. Should be. Don't make promises. To where we can get ourselves back to racing. We're going to have 35 laps to go once we get ourselves back to green here. And we're going to see. Right now, Blake Gordon has no teammate support. To where Justin Anderson on his inside, the row behind him are both Steel Horse Racing. And then the inside line behind that is also a teammate in Daniel Shirley. And then the question becomes, does Carl's man crush for Blake Gordon still stand? To where he will play the adjunct teammate as we are getting ourselves ready to go racing. Justin Anderson can take off when he wants. And he's waiting a little bit this time to try to get a little bit of a jump on Blake Gordon. He gets it. Joe Dinsmore, his teammates, right there on his inside. Blake Gordon is sailing it on the inside, outside of that concrete pad that Martinsville has. That transition is deadly if you screw it up going from the cement to the asphalt. Blake Gordon's looking like he's going to throw a move down on the inside. Justin Anderson leaves him room, but not quite enough to be able to get the job done. But Justin is looking strong as Blake Gordon looks like he almost gives him the tip right there. And he's right there, and the yellow flag's going to go out. Oh, my dashboard is going crazy right there, as it looks like the culprit of that one may have been a Carl Henderson. And he's getting the move going, and he's going. Oh, Tim St. Jean gives Shawn Carmody the tip, and that just flings him into Carl Henderson. And this is just, we got to go to the blimp here. And that just creates the pileup. Shawn's there, checks up, but Tim gets into the back of him, and that collects basically the back half of the field and creates a complete roadblock. As I'm trying to figure out who there, that's Tim on his lid. And the 47 looked like he was going to try to give him a flip. But Rob Muniz doesn't. He just hangs out. Eventually he goes ahead and takes the toe, and that's just one of those unfortunate racing incidents that really is not going to be anybody's fault. But right now, Carl Henderson is showing as a lap down and not on track. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. But we are unfortunately seeing the old adage of cautions breed cautions. And especially with that last one, Martinsville does not exactly leave people a lot of room to avoid, because it's a half a mile, very tight corners. And the walls are so high that you can't properly look through a corner like you're trained to do, because you're maybe able to see 90 degrees through the corner as you're entering. So, especially when you have an incident like that that's mid-corner, everybody behind, the only hope you have is to be able to see everybody checking up. And you've got to truly trust your spotter. As we are lights off on the pace car, which means it's time to get ourselves back to racing. And the front five have not changed. But the difference is right now Shawn Carmody has taken over that 6th place position from Carl Henderson. The pace car is off, and it's time for Justin Anderson to lead us to the green. He went late last time. He goes early this time and gets a great jump and is going to be completely clear of Blake Gordon. He dives in early. Looks like he may have caught a little bit of curb, and that's going to leave the door open for Blake Gordon. He's going to try to charge along the outside. He was doing a fantastic job of it to start this race. Justin Anderson gets a little bit on the curve, and that's going to give him the lap lead. But Justin is still on that low line. He's given him a little bit too much room on entry, and the yellow flag is out. So this time it's going to be Blake Gordon leading us to the green, and this is... It looks like Kevin Schmidt, but let's see what happens here before we place any kind of blame. He's going into the corner, and that looks like Stephen Dominique got into him, but I honestly can't say that that's anything more than a racing incident, because Dominique had his nose down below, and Kevin Schmidt just turned down a little bit too much. That's one of those that possibly the spotter didn't quite give him the call to where he couldn't prepare to run his normal line. But right now it is back to caution. We've got 25 laps to go. And right now our leader is a Mr. Blake Gordon. And the hard charger of the night at this point in the race is the 43 of Dave Wright. He is up 8 positions. And all you can say is keep it clean, and especially on a track like Martinsville, the spots will come to you. As we can see, I'm pretty sure that both Carl Henderson and Mike Burgess have parked it for the evening. So no more laps from those guys. So let's go ahead and try to make it to the end. At least let's have a nice first run like we did. 10 laps. 10 laps and let things get nice and dicey. Give me fights at the end. But as it stands right now, Justin Anderson is going to go ahead and take the season, because I ran the numbers earlier. Justin would have to finish in 12th. Joe Dinsmore would have had to have taken the pole, led the most laps, and won to be able to take over. And as we stand, that's not the case. However, we are seeing things play out exactly as I would have thought. And it keeps bouncing around. Mr. Shawn Carmody, despite the fact that he practiced none tonight, up in 6th and having a very strong race as the pace car is off. So Blake Gordon is going to lead us to green. He's going to go ahead and try to play some games. He gets off the line. Justin Anderson is back into 2nd, sails it a little bit into 1 and 2, but he is right back up there. He's in 2nd, and we've got a little bit of side-by-side between teammates, and that's Joe Dinsmore and Adam Wood. Adam needs to close off that door because that's going to open up the door for Shawn Carmody in the 40. And they get themselves into line, and we are single file right now for the most part. And things are not close enough, as we're going to take a quick look back here as Blake Ziti gets passed on the outside by the 47 of Rob Muniz, and these guys are going to go side by side for a little while. I would have to assume that there was some form of an incident that made it to where Blake ended up a little bit off the pace, and now he's driving as hard as he possibly can to hang on to what he can, as we're starting to see Dan Witt get himself up into that position and try to take advantage of them being side by side, but they fall in line. And right now I got to go back up to the front as we've got a 3-car pack at a half a second. This is Joe Dinsmore, Adam Wood, and Shawn Carmody. They're separated by about 0.2 apiece. And we're starting to get that long run as these guys are settling in, trying to get themselves closer to the end before we see any kind of moves, as we got to jump back as Dan Shirley at the back of the frame there tags the wall ever so slightly, and that's going to open up the door for Johnny Edward to get himself a little bit closer and possibly try to set himself up for a pass as Daniel Shirley goes into the wall once again. And that's going to give Johnny Edward the opportunity to take over 6th and set his sights on his teammate up in 5th and possibly get himself up into the top 5. But this little gaggle right here, it's not separating at all. So there's nothing really new to report, but we're going to go ahead and take a quick jump back here, and I'm going to apologize to John Gordon. I caught that at the absolute worst time, as he was closing in on Steve Dominy and caught a little bit of grass and gets a little bit out of sorts. But we're starting to see that train of Blake Ziti, Rob Muniz, and Dan Witt closing in and looking to try to get John Gordon a little bit farther in the pack and have all of these guys make their way up into the top 10. And I'm going to jump back up here as Adam Wood is starting to get himself a little bit closer to his teammate of Joe Dinsmore. With 11 laps to go, it's going to be a matter of who saves their tires the best, and especially on these tracks. My money on the best tires right now is Joe Dinsmore. He's fantastic on these flatter short tracks. And Adam Wood, I'm just going to give him a hard time. Adam Wood, not so much. But Adam Wood is trying to keep himself there, and Shawn Carmody is falling back, and we have yellow once again. That looks like the 99 of Dan Witt, as Big Red's looking a little bit worse for the wear, and just overdrives it ever so slightly. Collects Ed Springer, Joshua Mays, and we're back under caution. This is not what any of these guys were hoping to see. things were calming down. We had 8 laps to go. And officially at this point, this is going to bunch everyone up. And cautions have been breeding cautions tonight. But once again, it's Endeavor in first, followed by 3 Steel Horse. But this time around, 5th and 6th, we have Shawn Carmody and Johnny Edwards, who are teammates. So the top 6 are an even split of Endeavor and Steel Horse. And if I want to really go, the odds are kind of split because 7th is Daniel Shirley and he's Steel Horse. But I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break so we can make it all the way to the end of this race, because we're going to have 4 laps to go when we get back to green. All right, and we are back, ready to get ourselves to the checkered flag. And I lied, we're going to have 3 laps to go once we get back to green. So this is basically a green-white checker right now. But the lights on the pace car are off. And we are ready to get back to racing. So we have first place in the points starting in second. Second place in the points starting in third. And third place in the points starting in fifth. So right now, as it stands, we are coming back to green, and let's see what kind of a jump Blake Gordon gets. He's waiting, he's very late, goes, and it looked like he took advantage of Justin Anderson needing to kind of back off to make sure he was behind. Justin Anderson is getting himself up in front of Joe Dinsmore. But the action right now is back here between the 40 and the 45. The 40 spins the 45. And we are back under caution, so we are going to have a proper green-white checker. And the only thing I can say is in the SLMs, Shawn, spinning at him like that's my job. I did that far more times in the Winter Series when we ran the SLMs than I really should ever admit to. And I feel terrible about it, don't get me wrong. But I see Adam every Monday night, and we give each other a hard time about the stupid things that we do. So it's unfortunate to see it at this point because... Hold on, I'm seeing final lap. Are we not set up for a green-white checker? Because right now, I'm going to make the wild assumption that my timing and scoring is off, but no. We are not set up for green-white checkers tonight. So that's going to do it. We are going to go ahead and that's it. Blake Gordon is our winner tonight. And sorry, I'm a little bit shocked. All the other races have had green-white checkers. So I will admit I'm a little bit on the confused side. But all right, Blake Gordon is our winner. Justin Anderson in second, Joe Dinsmore third, fourth is Johnny Edward, fifth Daniel Shirley, sixth Shawn Carmody, seventh Steve Dominy, eighth is Blake Ziti, ninth John Gordon, 10th Rob Muniz, 11th is Ed Springer, 12th Kevin Schmidt, 13th Dave Wright, 14th Dan Witt, 15th is Adam Wood, 16th Timothy St. Jean, 17th Joshua Mays, 18th is Carl Henderson, and rounding out the field is Mike Burgess in 19th. So, all right, I guess it's time to go ahead and not show this Endeavor party out there on track that it looks like Justin Anderson is gonna go ahead and join, and we'll chat with Mr. Blake Gordon. How you doing?
Good. We're trying to organize a team photo, and we're like failing pretty bad at it here. So.
Well, you have Justin that just joined the party, so.
Ew.
All right, Blake. It's been 5 months since I've got to talk to you as a winner. How's it feel?
Get in the line. Get in the line. Oh, I forgot I'm not in the team chat here.
No. You know what? Hold on. I'll chat with Justin. You guys organize your team photo.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It feels good. It feels good to be back.
I mean, it's been a while, and I miss it.
Yeah, tonight was a really fun race. I don't know how I beat Justin there. Like, I had to really work hard to, get to his outside on the restart, which I don't even know how I pulled that off. It was really tough. I figured I wouldn't be able to get around him on the bottom. You really had to get a good diamond and a good exit and really, get a good run. And I felt like that was going to be impossible. So just got lucky with a good restart and managed to do just enough to get around him on the outside.
I was going to say, I don't know how you do it, but you were looking absolutely amazing on the outside line, which is unheard of at Martinsville.
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes it really works. Like when you are able to be aggressive on the brakes and trust that the car's going to stick, and this thing was on rails tonight, you can really get a good run, and it just really prevents that guy from, oh boy, oh no, oh god.
You got it. You're
oh.
Oh, come on.
Oh boy.
I'm really glad this is running in the background.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, we just made it stick. Sometimes the outside here is the way to go. You just prevent that guy on the bottom from getting a good exit out to the wall. They have to use more wheel, and sometimes they just can't make it stick.
Yeah, and it worked. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen a car fly like that, but...
Well, good thing I'm a pilot.
I was going to say, and hopefully you weren't in VR, because those are the vomit-inducing moments.
No, I was. That was fun.
No, but just to let you know, I called you and Justin frenemies at one point through the course of the night. Because I feel like that's one of those things that you guys are friends, but enemies on the track, but still friends.
Yeah, I mean, we've been, racing here in this league 2.5 years together now, and we're usually near each other. For the most part, 98% of the time, we're keeping it clean, giving each other hell, racing each other hard, and it's always been fun and fair and everything. I love racing them.
I was going to say, the side-by-side action you guys had at the beginning of the feature would have been an absolute disaster if it was anyone else.
Yeah, I know what he's going to give me, and there's a couple times where I had to look in the mirrors where I think he might have gotten in a little too hot, but that's the thing. I know, and he knows I'm going to give him room. I know he's going to do his best to give me room, and we just make it work, and it's fun. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So looking forward to the 87s next season?
Yeah, I never really random when they came out. I did like the first week at Daytona and never really touched them since. I know they've gone through some updates to make them drive better. So it should be fun whenever I can be here. And now, especially because it's on the new damage model too. That'll be fun. We were talking in the race, like how many wheels are going to be flying, how many blowovers are we going to get. It's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be an absolute blast, and it's going to be great that Carl's broadcasting it so I can look back at my stupidity once we get there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch too. That's going to be great.
So, all right, go out, enjoy your team, and I look forward to seeing the team photo. But great run, and
it would have been fun if we had all the teammates here, but one of the guys decided the football draft was more important than racing here tonight. So I guess we'll just leave him out.
You know what? He's an Eagles fan. He deserves to be left out.
Yeah, same thing every year. Hopes up, crush them by week 4. Hope for next year, right?
Exactly. I'm from Cleveland. I know the feeling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. So, all right, great run, and I'm looking forward to getting out there with the 87s and losing to you like normal.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for doing the broadcast tonight, and hopefully I'll be here next week.
All right, sounds good, sir.
All right, thanks, man.
Yep.
That's it.
All right, time to talk to our second place finisher and the season champion, Mr. Justin Anderson. How you feeling?
I feel pretty good, sir. It's good to be back.
I mean, how does it feel to be winning your first AOLL season, if I remember correctly?
It absolutely is. It feels really good. You know, I'm grateful that the admins opened up participation in TNT. So, I mean, you had, Brandon Bernhard and Josh Lustin and Carl Henderson, Joe Dinsmore. So the drivers in this league in this series were the same ones that are in Sportsman, the same ones in Cup. It's tough fields. So to be able to win my first championship and a championship in this series it feels pretty good.
I mean, in all reality, you are amongst an elite list.
I'm probably amongst several elite lists, but I'll take this one. I did want to shout out to Mr. Blake Gordon. First off, it was Martinsville, so he did and deserved to win as always. But I did actually run his paint scheme all season long because I was trying to emulate him. So I do feel like I was able to channel Blake into winning my first season championship.
Well, I mean, with the exception of Martinsville, you had 4 wins through a 10-week season. You pretty much did the paint scheme proud.
I hope he would feel that way. I am happy now that it was a short season, but I'm happy that my name is now on a championship list with people like Tim St. Jean, and I believe there's Mr. Josh Laston on that list.
Yes, there is.
So that's pretty good company. I feel pretty good about that. Brandon Bernhard too. Anyway, so I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, and you know what? It was fun getting to spend most of the season out there running with you. And then, I mean, it's Thursdays. I needed to have an excuse for not winning this year. Because it was never going to happen anyway, because you and Blake were running it.
I did try to at least fulfill your request, though, for the kids.
I know, and I caught that. Don't worry.
Good. And I do appreciate you broadcasting this. I know this sounds dumb, but this actually feels really good, and it to win something with the guys in this league. So, I'm glad it was broadcast, and I'll be able to watch it forever.
That is true. And
I'll be able to show my 3 cats from now.
Well, yes. And just for everyone, just to make sure, I made the request that Justin hit the barrels in qualifying, just to make sure everyone knows that there's nothing strange going on, just because I love making fun of him for the barrels incident if I remember correctly, that was a Milwaukee Mile.
No, it was Homestead, a race I thought I felt very confident I had a chance to win until I ate about 6 of the barrels.
Oh no, that's right. I'm the one that hit the barrels at the mile.
I'm still disappointed actually, because among the many things Blake is better at me than, I don't remember what track we were on, but he managed to jump his car onto the top of the barrels, maybe at Richmond. So I'm still saddened by the fact that I tried to, you know, fulfill your request, and I still fell short, and I'm in second place.
It doesn't matter. It will live in my heart forever while I hold on to the same meme that Carl made during the podcast last year and randomly slip that into conversations in the league.
Hashtag always remember.
It's never forget, by the way.
Oh, is it? I apologize.
All right, congratulations on a season well run. Getting your first season championship. We're going to move on to the 87s. Are you looking forward to that one?
I don't actually know yet, so I haven't really driven them. I'm excited about the concept of them. From what I've read and heard about them, they're not easy to drive. And we were talking in the race chat about like wagers about who would be the first blowover of the season. So there are some really exciting things to look forward to with the 87s. I'm glad that that's the option for the upcoming TNT season. I don't know how I'm going to do in them, but I'm going to enjoy the process, whether I finish first or on my roof.
Are you running the Monte Carlo, the Thunderbird, or the Buick?
I will have to consult with my paint man and let you know. Because I have no skill at all in anything relating to paints, so I'm not sure which one he's going to want to do.
It's a matter of who else is asking him to do it and which one they run. I'll be honest, I would run the Buick, but it was a late ad, and I bought the Monte Carlo when they first came out. But I would run the I'm sorry, Zazzles just decided to jump into a box that was closed, but he fell through.
Can we get that on the broadcast?
I wish. But no, I would have run the Buick because my first car was an 84 Buick Skylark TT.
Was it? I just learned something new about you today.
And there's a long story behind that I'll save for not this, because I'm going to, rather than us sit here and ramble, I'm going to let you go celebrate, maybe buy a new car, I don't know, with your championship. And I got to go chat with your teammate, so I'm going to send you down to an empty team.
I appreciate you, sir. Actually, seriously, no, thank you very much for the broadcast. I do appreciate it. I do have a beef with you right now, so I will have to get with you later about that.
I figured as much, and that's why I said it. But go, congratulations, and we will see you on Sunday, sir.
No.
Oh, no, that's right. Next Sunday. But I'll see you Wednesday for Dega and the Trucks.
And phrasing.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, and that is going to bring up our third place finisher, Mr. Joe Dinsmore, who's had a fantastic season and gets second place for the season.
Yeah, I'll take it. How's it going, Josh? How's it going, everybody?
I have had an absolute blast up here tonight because, I mean, most of the time I've run this season, I've joined you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure of a season. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this heat racing style with the super late model is a lot of fun. It's good entertaining. You get a break between, sitting between the race and the feature. You get to joke around with your teammates while you're, beforehand, which is really nice, while you're watching everybody else race.
I had a nice little monologue about that one earlier, and honestly, it's been an absolute blast because most of my closed circuit teammates didn't really run it. Carl was hit or miss. The rest of them busy on Thursday night. So it was absolute pleasure for me to hang out with the Steel Horse team, chat with you guys, shoot the crap. And you know what? I will say I'm going to miss the heats for that reason because it's been a great time.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was awesome having you in the chat when we were racing a couple times this year. And thank you very much for broadcasting tonight's race. I hope we put a little bit of a show on when we were up there trying to battle it out when we got to race a little bit.
Yeah, when we were racing, it was a blast to get to call because you guys, the front four, always throughout the season, and even if I'll go back to last year in the Cup, you guys always put on a fantastic race. I mean, you've been strong through this entire season. It's almost like you have a love for the SLM.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite cars to drive. I get a soft spot for this thing. It's light, loves to turn left, and can't complain. You can toss it in. It's got a lot more grip than even the Gen 7. So
yeah, we've seen a lot of those tossing in, but is it next week or 2 weeks that we're going to the 87s? I can't remember if there was a week off or not, but
the week off I think is between the sportsmen.
Oh, okay.
So we just switch right into it next week.
All right. Carl and I had a conversation trying to figure that one out, but it was more just in passing. So we're moving to a very much a driver's car.
Yep. That's going to favor my driving style quite a bit, actually.
That's why I said that, because I know that you are one of those people that throttle control, I don't know how you do it sometimes.
I just get lucky, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we got a lot of guys that have a heck of a lot of car control in this league. In the top 8, top 10. You slip up at this point with the people that you got. If you're in the top 5 and you slip up at all, you're going back if the cars are grouped together. So any week, hopefully the 87s will give us what we had with these SML super late models, and get a lot of bumping and banging and good fun racing.
That's why I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad Carl's going to be the one on the call because I'm looking forward to being back out there with you guys, having a great time, because the schedule, you're hitting some of my favorite tracks, with the exception of the fact that there's no Glen, which I think would be an absolute blast in these cars, but
yeah,
I'll take it for an 87 at Darlington.
Yeah, Carl and Brandon did an amazing job getting that schedule put together, so shout out to them for doing that.
It's going to be an absolute blast. Great job tonight. I'm not surprised. I'm actually somewhat surprised you didn't take it to Justin there, but teammates and all.
If we had the green-white checker, I was definitely going to try to take it from him, so he knows that.
Oh, yeah. I would expect no different. But great run from you tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing what you have in the 87s, except for on track.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much for doing this again, and anybody that stuck it out this long, thanks for watching, and have a good night.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. That is going to do it for me tonight at Ghostfire Media. It looks like the TNT series is going to be back in the very near future. You're going to have Carl Henderson on the call, and I'm looking forward to it. 10 weeks of the classic Cup cars from the same group that you got to see racing tonight. We may have a few people join that are very interested in running those cars specifically. So make sure and catch all the action on Ghostfire Media. Sunday is going to be the AOLL Cup Series, and that's going to be some Dover action, if I remember correctly. Then Monday night, catch the season finale of the North-South Racing League. Wednesday, the Sim 500 Truck Series. And then finally, next Thursday, catch Mr. Carl Henderson for the initial race of the next season of TNT. But with that, I'm Josh Laston for Ghostfire Media. Have yourselves a great evening.
Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.